I like your lobster, Ron.
Oh, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. I'm on my way back tomorrow, so I'll be
Uh,
back Sunday. I'll be back Sunday.
okay,
So
nice.
getting ready. I'm glad to start the garden and get the boat out, stuff like that. So,
Yep.
so thank you very much, everyone, for attending tonight. Uh, I think it's an important meeting that we discuss our ability to put conduit boxes in for the streets. We're doing the complete streets sidewalk projects.
Ron, you want to call to order? We'll
I'm
do that
sorry.
so
Okay.
we
I
officially
certainly do. Yep. Okay. So
6:32.
6:32, I'll call the advisory board to order.
All right. And members here are Ron, Jamie, Nancy, Marty.
Right. And
Okay.
along with
And
Town
Bill.
Administrator Brian and Bill
And
Johnson.
Bill. Okay. I'm good.
Okay. So Brian, to fill us in a little bit on complete streets, I don't know whether Bill or Brian wants to talk about the cost and what's going on with that and why we have to do it by June.
Go ahead, Brian.
So I'll start a little bit. So the cost came in, we got a state grant for, I think it's $322,000. And the bid came in around 400,000. So it was $80,000 higher. So during the discussion of the project, there was some comments and whatnot, and some little changes here and there. But the big change was Bill had thought and talked with the Ashburnham Power and Light Company to be able to put the conduit underneath the ground so that we could put light poles and stuff on Main Street. You could put banners on them and stuff, kind of to give Main Street a little more of a look instead of just sidewalks, a little more, pizzazz to it. So, we all thought that was a good idea. And that was a $100,000 amendment. So on the original one that came in $80,000 higher, we reduced the scope of the work to make it fit the money we had. In doing that, we still kind of wanted to do the addendum, which was not covered by the state grants. So Bill, working with the Ashburnham Power and Light Company, had agreed on a 50-50 split on the additional cost. So the town doesn't have any resources really available quickly for this. The contract needs to be completed by the end of June. So they want to start May 24th. So it kind of puts this timeline really quick. So we really don't have many other avenues to get the funds. So, we thought that advisory having their $50,000 at the beginning of the year is a good place to look for those funds. So in doing that, the Board of Selectmen agreed that it would be a good idea to move forward and have the advisory meet with us to see if they thought it was a good idea to transfer the funds under your control into that account to use for that project. After this, we're going to wait for Ashburnham Power and Light to see if they vote for their part. If they vote for their part, then we move forward with yours. If they do not vote for their part, we're not going to move forward with just half the project. So that money would then just be left over. Probably I'd have you rescind the vote and put the money back in.
Right.
Bill, did I miss anything you want to add to that?
Well, just a couple of details that, you can blame this whole thing on me. So I'm okay with that. When, as you know, Complete Streets happened before I got elected, and why conversations weren't had about doing the lights, don't know, can't help with any of that. But after the fact, as Brian said, it just seemed like it'd be a darn shame to go through that process and put those sidewalks in, because we're never going to go back. Right. So again, as Brian said, we worked with Ashburnham Municipal Power. The original plan was we were going to run conduit up both sides of the street, essentially from Pleasant Street up to Cushing Street on both sides. We were going to put in 19 or 20 new lights, and eventually all the power would get buried on the right-hand side and the northbound on 12, the right-hand side, it would all get buried. So as engineers looked at it and Ashburnham Municipal Light looked at it, last week we found out that the right-hand side was a no-go. The bottom lines on the poles were too low. Those are Verizon lines. They're too low, so you couldn't put the street lamps up there and have it work. And they felt that it may be 5 to 7 years before they could actually bury that power over there. So plan B was just put the lights on the left-hand side of Route 12 as you go north. So I think there's 8 or 9 lights that would be installed there. The conduit gets buried by the contractor. It includes the conduit, the pole bases, and all the work that goes with it. And once those are in, Ashburnham Municipal Power will pull the cables, actually install the street lamps and get them operational. Also, that price does include the street lamps, which weren't in the original part of the proposal. So all in, it's $100,000 based on the bid from the contractor. You split it 50-50, it's $50,000 a piece. And if you remember, not only do you have the $50,000 in the reserve fund, but we also moved $75,000 over into that fund at the last town meeting. So it's not going to leave the reserve fund with nothing in it. There's a remote possibility, and I want to emphasize the word remote, that we may have some other resources through grants and funding that may come in somewhere down the line. But as Brian indicated, timing is a big deal here. We actually need to sign this contract this week so we can get the contractor on board. If we don't get it done by the deadline of the end of June, we actually lose the $322,000 grant from the state, which would be a sin if that happened. So we could have gone to capital, but that requires a town meeting vote, which is too late down the road. Could have looked at free cash because there's some money left there, but the same thing would have happened. We would have had to go to town meeting to do that. So it really left us with only one place to go, which was the advisory board, which is why we're here.
How likely is it, oh, I'm sorry, Bill. How likely is it to get approved by the lightning?
I've been working with Mark Carlisle, who's, I believe, the chairman of the light board. He's very optimistic that it's going to get done. Kevin Sullivan, who's the manager over there, is on board with it. They are meeting Wednesday night, I believe, in their annual meeting to do it. So he's very confident that they're going to vote to expend the money as well. And the way we put the motion together for the Board of Selectmen, it was pending approval from the advisory board and pending approval from Ashburnham Municipal Light. So as Brian said, if that doesn't happen, then it just goes away and the money stays where it is.
So Bill, would that be up past, was that up past St. Denis on that side of the street? On the St. Denis side?
It'll go past St. Denis, but if you go back to the original Complete Streets project, the area from Father Lacey Hall up to the schoolboy statue did not have a sidewalk in it. We added that in, and on the other side down at Pleasant, in front of the pizza shop and the dentist, it didn't have a sidewalk there. We added that in. Those are the two things that drove the number too high in the original grant, but we had to take those out. So the sidewalk is going to end basically when you get past St. Denis Church, and it'll be open in front of the rectory. So the lights will be appropriately spaced on that side from there down to Pleasant Street.
Could we put the conduit in up to the statue for later, or?
No, well, I think, and not to speak out of turn here, Brian, but my understanding is that we're not going to go back and revisit that section of sidewalk. There's been some preliminary conversations with Cushing to see if maybe they can do something over there because that's really their property. But
Okay.
It hasn't gone very far yet. We don't know if it will or it won't. So it may be the conduit to nowhere if we did that.
I was wondering, okay, Brian, I was wondering if maybe north of the rectory, you could just stub it onto Cushing's property in case they elected to do that, if they did put a sidewalk in.
Yeah, I'm not sure how far it's going to go. my eyes aren't getting any better. When you look at the plans the engineers
Right.
did, you need a microscope to be able to see where things go. So I don't know exactly how far it's going to go up, but
Okay.
certainly we're going to go as far as we can to make it work.
Okay. All right.
Did
Are there any-
Cushing have a time frame as to when they would get back to you?
Say again?
Did Cushing have a time frame, like when they would get back
No,
to you?
like I said, there is some very, very preliminary discussions with one member of the select board, with somebody from Cushing. It may not materialize to anything. So if they were to do something, maybe next year, but it's very, very preliminary.
All right.
So on that note, I talked to Paul Silver last week from Cushing and brought this up, and we talked a little bit about it. They're looking at some other walkways and stuff, so they're not really looking at this area. But I did plant the seed in his mind, because they do have some concerns with that area, parking and line of sight when people pull out of that intersection and whatnot from there. So that's kind of, a preliminary discussion on that. And to get back to Bill's point at the very beginning, I think it's a real good idea. That's why we're here. So I wasn't putting the blame on you, Bill. I think, getting it while we're here is good. And also, this started before I was here also. I wasn't even here a week, and I got a check from the state for this. I didn't even know what it was for. So, we're both, not involved at the beginning stages, unfortunately.
Okay. Are there any other questions on the lighting aspect from the advisory board members?
So would these be similar to the poles that we have in front of town hall? And
Yeah, my understanding is they'll be identical. Again, the light company is the one that did that project. So they're looking to extend that. And then, again, somewhere down the road, as we've got many other projects that we're talking about and grant money that we're looking for, we're looking to try to expand that theme of those, rustic looking light lamp posts in other areas of the town, maybe up to Winchester Park and things like that. But it's not an inexpensive proposition. I got to tell you, it's much more than I would have anticipated. But so it just, again, I just think it'll look really, really nice. And unfortunately, Ashburnham has a history of not looking down the road too far and waiting and waiting and waiting. And then when we finally get around to it, it costs us 10 times as much money like the sewer system. So that's my urgency in trying to get this done now.
Yep. Any further questions or comments? Again, I'm in favor of it. I think timing is important. We have the funds in the latest budget to actuals. You can see the money is still there, not being utilized. So do I have a motion from anyone on the advisory board to support the $50,000 for the installation of the conduit and bases for light poles on Main Street?
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to transfer from the reserve fund the sum of $50,000 to the lighting project, or does it have a name? Or
Well, it could be to the Complete Streets project.
okay.
Okay,
So the sum of 50,000 to the Complete Streets project.
So, Jamie, Complete
Yeah.
Streets sidewalk project.
Complete Streets sidewalk project. Okay. I made the motion.
I second it.
okay,
Marty
Marty.
second.
Okay, we'll take a roll call. Ron Putnam, yes.
Nancy Fisher, yes.
Jamie
Jamie?
Podgerfight, yes.
Martin?
Marty Stusick, yes.
Okay, so you have our approval.
Motion approved.
Thank you very
Motion.
much. Appreciate it very much.
Okay, no problem. Let me move on to another couple items. This is strictly really for the advisory board, but I did send out the preliminary budget for next year to the advisory board. Like to try to have a meeting on the 15th, go through those line items to describe them, and then maybe even talk about some of the warrant articles that we'll see at the town meeting if they're finalized to the extent we can describe them. How many people do you think will be available on the 15th? Jamie, would you be available?
That's this week,
Yes.
Yes.
That is the
Thursday?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yes, I'll be available Thursday.
Okay, Martin?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay,
Yeah, I can be
Nancy?
available too. Yep. I
Okay,
can be
good.
available.
Okay, so Joe will be available. Again, I haven't heard from Mike or Gail, so I'm gonna have to get with them. Okay, the last item I'd like to take up tonight is the minutes that Jamie sent out this afternoon to everybody. I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at them. Let's see, there's one from 5/9/2020. In fact, it's going over the budget for this year. Does anybody have any comments or questions or changes to those minutes? Okay, then I'd take a motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
Okay, and that can be you, me, and Nancy were the people who were there, so we can vote on that.
Yeah, I'll make
Okay.
a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay, Nancy makes the motion. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, okay.
Aye.
Okay, good. Then the second one is February 8th of this year, where we actually met with the heads of the town departments to go over their rationalization for this year's budget.
The
So,
warrant, does the warrant
the
article.
warrant, yes.
Yeah.
So anybody have any comments, concerns, or clarifications? Okay, have a motion to accept them as written.
I'll make
Motion
the motion to accept as written.
Okay, Nancy, Martin, you want to,
Second it.
okay, Martin will accept it. All in favor?
Okay,
Aye.
Aye.
and we can all vote on this one, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we were all there for that.
We'll vote on this one.
Okay, so we'll all, so both of those minutes have been accepted. Brian, can you get with Mary in the morning, please, and set up a Zoom meeting for Thursday, the 15th? I'd probably be at 6:30 to go over the budget numbers, the line items.
Yes, we will. I'll have her set that up.
Okay. Does anybody else on the advisory board have any comments, questions, or anything they want to bring up?
No.
No.
Brian, could you add the capital planning to that meeting Thursday night?
You want to do them together? Sure.
Yeah, it's easier.
Jamie, I can't be there. I
Okay.
have another, not that it's not a reason to cancel it, but I have a bylaw review committee meeting at 6 o'clock. So, which goes from 6 to 7. So I would not be able to attend both.
Okay. Well, I think you know most of the stuff we'll go over, so at least
Well,
give Duncan and,
There's really nothing on the capital plan,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
but at least I'll give Duncan and John a heads up anyway.
Yeah. The only thing on there, I think, is the loader, right, Brian?
Yeah.
Correct.
So you don't need me for that.
It's the final payment for the loader, isn't it, this year?
I thought it was 4 out of 5.
Four, it might be the fourth one.
Oh, 4. Oh, God, I thought it was done. Okay. All right, 4th out of 5. Okay. Well, other than that, I would like to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting. Again, thank you, everybody, for attending and taking the time out. And I will see you shortly back in Ashburnham. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
Thank
See
you all.
Thanks, Ron.
All right.
Safe travels, Ron.
Safe
Mary-
travels.
Yeah, safe travels. Bye.
Okay,
Mary, is
definitely.
Mary still on?
No, Mary left.
Okay.
Mary left. When Ron logs out, I think it'll kick us all out. It'll stop.
All
the
right.
recording.
Can you just let her know that we approved those 2 minutes? I sent her copies of them.
I'll let her know first thing in the morning and
So
the
she can
update
put
on.
them, so she can upload them there.
Okay.
Thank
Okay?
you.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Matt.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, good night.
Right.